Human rights groups have expressed profound alarm following a meeting between U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele during Rubio's inaugural overseas trip. The meeting, which took place in El Salvador on Monday as part of a broader Central American and Caribbean tour, sparked significant controversy due to Bukele's offer to accept deportees from the United States, regardless of nationality, and house them in. This includes, according to Rubio, an offer to incarcerate dangerous American criminals, a proposition that directly contradicts established legal principles and raises serious human rights concerns. Rubio's statement detailed Bukele's offer as encompassing criminals of any nationality, explicitly referencing notorious transnational gangs like MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. He emphasized that this offer extended to individuals holding U.S. citizenship. This assertion immediately ignited outrage among human rights advocates who rightly pointed out the inherent illegality of deporting U.S. citizens. A subsequent clarification from a U.S. official to the Associated Press acknowledged that the Trump administration had no current plans to pursue the deportation of American citizens, yet acknowledged the significance of Bukele's offer. The legal impossibility of such a deportation was underscored by Letty Volpe, a University of California, Berkeley law professor specializing in immigration law. Volpe unequivocally stated on CNN that the U.S. is legally prohibited from deporting its own citizens, irrespective of their incarceration status. This legal reality casts a long shadow over the apparent willingness of the El Salvadoran government to accept such individuals. Bukele himself confirmed the offer on social media, framing it as a proposal to outsource part of its prison system to El Salvador. He explicitly stated his willingness to accept convicted criminals, including convicted U.S. citizens, into his country's megaprison in exchange for a fee. This megaprison, the largest in the Americas, was constructed in 2023 to accommodate the surge in alleged gang members arrested since Bukele declared a state of exception in 2022, a response to escalating gang violence. This state of exception has led to the unprecedented detention of over 80,000 individuals, approximately 2% of El Salvador's adult population, since 2022. While this drastic measure has resulted in a demonstrable decrease in crime rates, it has also drawn sharp criticism for its erosion of the rule of law. Critics argue that the crackdown has resulted in numerous wrongful incarcerations and a systematic disregard for the right to a fair trial. Human rights organizations have documented a litany of abuses, including arbitrary arrests, torture, enforced disappearances, and widespread violations of due process. The U.S. State Department has independently characterized El Salvador's prisons as severely overcrowded, with harsh and life-threatening conditions. The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights 2023 report documented over 6,400 cases of human rights abuses, including 174 deaths in state custody. A subsequent report revealed that approximately 3,000 children were caught in the net of El Salvador's. The stark contrast between Bukele's offer and the well-documented human rights abuses within his own prison system has intensified concerns about the potential fate of any deportees. The implications of this agreement, should it proceed, extend far beyond the immediate transfer of prisoners. It raises fundamental questions about the protection of human rights, the limits of international cooperation in criminal justice, and the potential for complicity in human rights violations by allowing such a transfer to take place. The offer itself represents a significant challenge to fundamental legal principles and casts a long shadow over the already strained human rights landscape in El Salvador. The international community must closely monitor this situation and demand accountability for any potential human rights abuses that may arise from this proposed agreement. The potential for the systematic violation of the rights of U.S. citizens and other vulnerable individuals necessitates the lack of due process and fair trial guarantees within El Salvador's justice system poses an unacceptable risk to anyone transferred under this proposal. The international community must actively work to prevent the implementation of such an agreement and ensure that the fundamental rights and freedoms of all individuals are protected. The chilling implications of this offer demand urgent attention and decisive action to uphold international human rights standards. The consequences of accepting this proposal could have far-reaching and potentially devastating repercussions for human rights and the rule of law. A thorough and transparent investigation into the human rights situation in El Salvador's prisons is essential before considering any such agreement. The offer raises critical questions about the balance between national security interests and the fundamental principles of human rights and due process. Such a decision cannot be taken lightly and necessitates a careful examination of its potential ramifications on the lives of those involved.